Tonight's episode is called Something at the Top of the Stairs. A chill wind howled outside, rattling the window panes like skeletal fingers against a coffin lid. Inside, nestled on the worn sofa, Mike and his girlfriend Sarah huddled closer, the flickering light from the television casting dancing shadows on the walls. The movie playing was a classic horror, a tale of a haunted mansion and vengeful spirits. Nervous laughter bubbled up from Sarah, punctuated by playful jabs at Mike's feigned bravery. Suddenly, a sharp rapping sound echoed from the hallway upstairs. It was a distinct noise, unlike the settling of the old house or the wind's mournful song. Both Mike and Sarah froze, the playful banter extinguished in an instant. Their eyes met, a shared, unspoken question hanging heavy in the air. Were they truly alone? They had spent the evening alone, a rare treat in their busy lives. The house, a charmingly creaky Victorian inherited from Mike's eccentric aunt, was usually filled with a comforting silence. This new sound, however, was an unwelcome intrusion, a discordant note in the familiar symphony of the old house. Fear, suddenly, cold and metallic, flooded Mike's stomach. He swallowed hard, trying to quell the rising panic. "Must be the wind," he offered Sarah, his voice betraying a tremor of doubt. Sarah's brow furrowed. "But there's no wind strong enough to knock like that," she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. The rapping sound came again, louder and more insistent this time. The silence that followed was thick and suffocating. Mike knew he couldn't ignore it. He had to check. Steeling himself, he rose slowly from the sofa, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs. Sarah reached out, her hand grasping his arm tightly. His fingers tightened around hers, finding comfort in the warmth of her touch. With a deep breath, Mike crept towards the stairs. Each creak of the floorboard sounded like a gunshot in the tense silence. He reached the foot of the stairs and looked up, the darkness swallowing the upper landing whole. He strained his ears, but all he heard was the erratic thumping of his own heart. Uncertainty gnawed at him. Should he call the police? What would he even say? We heard a noise in our empty house? The thought felt ridiculous. He took another deep breath, his eyes adjusting to the gloom. Then he saw them. Two eyes, burning red like embers in the darkness, materialized at the top of the stairs. They glowed with an unnatural intensity, piercing the veil of shadow. Mike's breath hitched in his throat, a primal scream trapped in his chest. The eyes stared back at him, unwavering and devoid of emotion. A wave of terror washed over him, so powerful that it almost brought him to his knees. This was no illusion, no trick of the light. These eyes belonged to something evil. Panic broke the fragile dam of his self-control. He flung his arm around Sarah, pulling her back towards the living room. "Run!" he screamed, his voice hoarse with terror. They didn't need to be told twice. Sarah tore free of his grasp and sprinted towards the back door, the urgency evident in every desperate stride. Mike followed on her heels, the pounding footsteps of unseen pursuers echoing in his ears. They reached the back door, fumbling with the lock in their haste. Sarah finally threw it open, and they tumbled out into the cold night air. Mike slammed the door shut behind him, throwing his weight against it, as if that could keep whatever lurked within at bay. They didn't stop running until their lungs burned and their legs went numb. They collapsed onto the damp grass, gasping for breath, their hearts thudding like trapped birds. The wind swirled around them, carrying the scent of rain and something else, a faint metallic tang that spoke of decay and death. As they lay there, the night sky a tapestry of twinkling stars, a terrifying realization dawned on Mike. The eyes were gone. They hadn't followed them outside. It meant, whatever it was confined to the house. A cold shiver ran down his spine. They had escaped, for now, but what awaited them if they ever returned? The phone in Sarah's pocket buzzed, its sound a harsh intrusion in the quiet night. Mike looked at her, a silent question in his eyes. Sarah answered the call hesitantly. It was her brother, checking in on them after their movie night plans. The normalcy of his voice, unaware of the horror they had just witnessed, felt almost surreal. They made up a story, something about a power outage and a late-night ice cream run. Even with the lie heavy on their tongues, they knew their lives had changed irrevocably. The house, once a charming reminder of his aunt, now loomed in their mind like a menacing sentinel. A tomb filled